banking landscape is shifting beneath our feet, driven by technological leaps and a volatile global economy. Now, to address these challenges, the Association of Professional Bankers Sri Lanka is hosting its 36th annual convention. Now, to discuss this and much more in detail with me, I have with me Anton Arumugam, the President of the Association of Professional Bankers Sri Lanka, and also Dilshan Pereira, the Senior Vice President, and also the Convention Chair of the Association of Professional Bankers Sri Lanka. Gentlemen, a very warm welcome to the show.
Thank you, George. Thank you.
Anton, I'm going to direct my first question to you. Let's deep dive straight off. And so this first question that I have for you, Anton, is now the Association of Professional Bankers. Who constitutes its membership and what is the Association of Professional Bankers?
First of all, thank you, George. Thank you for inviting us, and it's an honor to APB and the bankers in Sri Lanka. So, answer to your questions, APB, Association of Professional Bankers, established in 1988. This representing members from public and private banks in Sri Lanka. It is the only platform that brings together professionals, institutions and bankers across the country. So we have about over 3,500 members who are experienced and qualified from multiple banks. So APB invests on a lot of resources and time on promoting and enhancing the knowledge platform of the banking fraternity. So we do also offer scholarship and periodical CPDC program. The professional development programs is conducted by the industry experts, and we select the topics of very relevant and very important topics. Apart from that, we also promote the Sri Lankan bankers in overseas. So we have established a partnership with the Sri Lankan Bankers Association in Dubai, where we exchange our knowledge and we share our ideas, and also we invite them for their research program that we do locally. So over 38 years in APB, that our mission to continuously build the professionalism and the knowledge, and finally the unity among the bankers.
Dilshan, thank you very much, Anton. I'm going to come to Dilshan now for the next question. Now, you're also the chair of the Association of Professional Bankers Sri Lanka. You're hosting the 36th annual convention, which itself is a significant milestone. The APB itself is rich in its history, has done a lot of service to the country itself. So, coming to you about the convention, tell us, what is this convention about, Dilshan?
Sure. Thanks, Joad. So let me just add on a few more points what President was also mentioning. So generally we have from Assistant General Manager level and above, or we would have people who need to qualify in the banking industry from Chartered Institute Bankers or IFS, or from the Institute of Bankers Sri Lanka, IBSL, and you need to be associate and above to qualify, or you have a diploma in banking with 5 years of experience. So that's the sort of to join. There is a level of requirement to join the APB.
Typically, it's the important decision makers of the country as well.
Absolutely. So senior level, and we do a lot to actually groom the newcomers into the system as well. So we've done a lot of work in that sphere. So we have had mentoring programs. We have continuous professional development programs for our membership as well. We look at current themes which will help the country, which will help the industry as a whole to promote the professionalism and to bring the integrity, because we keep saying, banking is an industry of trust. Absolutely. And you need to have trust to be able to place your money with a bank, and that's the core aspect of it. So we are there to, as a collection of banks, and our membership, including our council, which consists of 17 members, is essentially a representation of all banks. So coming to your question, Joad, so the convention is basically a flagship event. So it's going to be held this time on the 19th and 20th of February at Cinnamon Life, Lumina Ballroom, and it's split into two parts. The first day is the inauguration, and the second day is when we have the technical sessions, where we really get into the subject matter aspects of what we discuss. And when we structure the convention, which is our key event for the year, we look at thematics, key thematics in terms of what really does the banking industry in Sri Lanka really require, what are the thematics or what's been discussed globally, what are the challenges there are. We split it out into areas such as the macro side, the information technology, the digital side, the human capital side, and also then we bring out an aspect of an overall aspect by bringing CEOs in as well for the session. I'll probably talk a little bit more into it as well. And what the convention does in addition is also provides opportunity for bankers, and we generally have a banking for the convention we have about 400 to 500 bankers turning up, and it's an opportunity to network and also to build one's profile with the senior banking community in the industry.
Yes, now Dilshan, in fact, Anton, I'm going to come to you for the next question. Now, Dilshan just gave us a brief about the convention itself. Now, beyond being a professional networking platform within the banking sector, how does APB define its role?
So APB mission is simple but is vital. So we strengthen the banking professions to continue to serve the economy, institutions, and every citizen of Sri Lanka with integrity and resilience. So APB was actually not founded not merely a network of members, it's standard bearer of ethics, excellence and leadership. So if you take our council members, as Dilshan mentioned, so these council members representing from banks in Sri Lanka, they are holding very senior positions at their banks, at their offices, but respective of their demanding role in offices, but they continue to contribute and engage in APB activities. And we also do have the advisory committee and the fund management committee, on which we have 6 CEOs of banks and 1 chairman of a bank is working with us on these committees. And we have the bank representative, people who are the young future talented leaders who are currently serving as a representative, so they are very actively engaged in all the APB activities. So it is reinforcing the unity beyond the boundaries. So irrespective of the institutions, so everyone come together, collectively work for one mission. And so we elevate the profession by bridging the gaps between the institution, generations and now borders.
Yes, Anton. Now, Dilshan, I'm going to come to you again about the convention. Now, Anton just told us how the APB is reinforcing unity beyond boundaries. Now, this year's theme, I just went through a few details. Now, this year's theme, navigating complexity and accelerating impact through regional synergy. That's right, yeah?
Absolutely.
So, why was this theme selected this year? Now, I spoke about in my introduction, I told, there is a volatile global economy happening. We have technological leaps, technology is advancing rapidly. So, why do you think this was the most suitable time for a theme like this, and why was this theme selected, Dilshan?
It's a very valid question, and congratulations for getting it right the first time, because it's actually is a mouthful, right? So, the thinking behind this year's theme, and coming with the theme is not something we take very lightly. It's a rigorous process where it goes through a few rounds of vetting with the council, and we do outside sort of a check as well in terms of demand for it as well.
So it's not just, okay, let's come up with this theme, but there is some background checking done. There is a thorough process before you go ahead with the theme.
Absolutely. There's a lot of context there. So let me give you some context. So we look at the local aspect, and then we look at the international aspect as well. Let me start from home. Sri Lanka has been through a lot, and we talk a lot about resilience as a country. So if I would step a few years back, we had 2 Black Swan events. We had the Easter Sunday attacks, we had the COVID pandemic, then we had the financial crisis, and then again November 2025 rather, we had the Ditwa disaster which happened. And we used to always talk about resilience and how we come out of this, which is good. Then that's the local aspect. then the international aspect, we have a lot of changes which are going. The geopolitical environment, as we know, it is changing. There's protectionism coming in, tariff environment coming in, technology, as we know, is changing quite rapidly. There's a volatile interest rate environment, lots of changes, and regionally there are sort of changes and overall which is happening as well. So essentially there's a lot of complexity, Joel, in the world we operate, internationally, locally, and in this complex environment we are comfortable talking about resilience, which is fine, but now is a call for action.
Absolutely.
We as a country now need to move forward, and we have to build ourselves from where we are. We have done well to come out of the financial crisis, but it's still a journey. It's not, we have not reached an end. So it's actually a call for action to say, you navigate complexity. Complexity is not going to go away. It's probably going to be more complex in the future as well, right? So it's not going to go away. So acknowledge that first. So navigating complexity, accelerating impact, right? We want to call for action there. And how do we do it? One of the key ways is through the regional synergies which we have. Our neighbors, our partners. This year, through President's guidance, we have done a lot of tie-ups with India and a few other partners around regionally as well. To name a few, Nepal, Dubai, and there are international visitors coming for our convention as well from GCC countries as well. And we've taken a leap forward to make sure that as a banking industry that we have reached out to these quarters so that we do our part in terms of forging those links and driving FDI, driving growth into our country as APB. So that's a brief summary about how we came up with the theme, Joel.
Yes, in fact, no easy task despite it being a theme. Normally you see, people propose something, it sounds catchy, we go ahead with it, but this is not something like that. There is a thorough process before you go ahead with that theme. You take into consideration the current context, not just here at home, but a global perspective as well.
Absolutely.
So again, now, Anton, I'm going to come to you. This is also about the convention. There is a lot of emphasis on international speakers and also panelists during this convention. What was the thought process behind that?
Very valid question. Thank you for that question. So we are meeting at a time when the world feels unpredictable. So geopolitical risks, climate disruption, technological shocks has resulted in a change in the customer expectations. So business is not usual as now, and it is truthfully, it will never be again. So international speakers, they brings diverse perspective, global best practices and deep insights. So which will enhance our members to take the challenges on the globally interconnected environment. So to complement in this, we also bring in the local expertise and industry experts to this panel, so for them to also to share their insights. Further, today's world, no country or association or institution can thrive in isolations. So you have to work with the partnership and the collaborations, so going forward. So that's the reason behind for us to bring international speakers to enhance the knowledge of the banking community.
Anton and Dilshan, I think you would agree with me. Globally, we are at a turning point, especially in terms of the economy. We have tariffs and we have external shocks. Sri Lanka itself has gone through a crisis, like you mentioned. We've been through multiple crises, especially after this disaster, and there's so much of emphasis on having buffers and being ready for such shocks as well. We even have the managing director of the IMF coming down to the country as well. So it is at an important juncture like this that you are hosting this convention. So what are some of the highlights that you would say of this year's convention at such a crucial juncture in the country?
Sure. So we want to make sure that we bring the key thematics to life, specifically to address what you were saying. So if I was to start with what we're actually discussing, let me just sort of take a step back first and say who we are bringing in to discuss, which I think matters as well. So on the opening day, which is the inauguration on the 19th, Governor of the Central Bank of Sri Lanka, Dr. Nandalal Veerasimha, will be the chief guest. And we have the executive director from the Reserve Bank of India, Sri Ajay Kumar, who will do the opening remarks as well. So he will sort of talk a little bit about the regional aspects of it and how to look at navigating and how India's success story has been in terms of complexity and how they have accelerated itself from where it was to where it is. And also we bring in on the second day speakers from international repute. We are bringing consultants from the likes of McKinsey, BCG, Deloitte. We are also bringing policy level folk as well, so that we give a more broad aspect in terms of the local fiscal side as well as the monetary policy side. So the Secretary to the Treasury will also join us on the second day, and then we have Deputy Governor as well joining us to talk about the monetary policy side. So we call the fiscal and the monetary. How the convention is structured is that we first discuss about the macro aspect of things as a country, and what's going on in Sri Lanka and the global context, how you navigate that piece, and then we talk about the people aspect of it, the human capital aspect of it, the digitalization agenda, and it finally ends with 4 CEOs and chairmen of reputed commercial banks coming together to basically talk about the industry and the challenges and how they are navigating each of their banks, so that our audience of say 400 to 500 people really see the thematics being discussed and the practical aspects, and they're able to ask questions. Challenging questions is what we would like also to be asked, so that we actually grow as an industry. So those are some of the key aspects that we will actually bring together in this time's convention to address those complexities that we are seeing from a global context.
So it is a learning curve for all of us. Yes. Definitely an opportunity to shed our light on things and also see what we can gain from international speakers and compare ourselves to situations they've been in, we've been in, and see what we can take from that as well.
Absolutely. And another key aspect, Joad, is that some of the panelists who are joining us and some of the participants who are joining us, I think we have close to about 30 to 40 participants joining in from GCC countries, Nepal, India, to name a few, Dubai. And what that brings is that the conversation is not only a local Sri Lankan conversations. Our bankers in Sri Lanka get to interact with other bankers in and around the region.
It's not just the guests who are international, but also the participants at times that we get to
share.
You build a network gradually.
Absolutely. And the beauty is then you realize how the landscape is shifting in those particular countries, and you're really able to take the learnings of that, take the experiences of that, and see what fits us well as well, and also share our story. We've done well as a country as
Absolutely.
well, and how does our banking industry now contribute externally as well.
Yeah, we spoke about being in a crucial juncture. We spoke about how we can learn of international speakers, the experiences they have been through, compare ourselves to that as well. And at a time like this in the country and also in the world, banking practices is of utmost importance. Anton, I'll direct this question to you. So how does ADB interpret and also uphold professionalism in terms of banking practices?
Yeah, so APB define professionalism not by how much you know, by how much you generously share with others. And we measure the leadership, not your achievement in personal milestone, and how you uplift others in our professions. So as Dilshan correctly mentioned, that banking is all about trust, and the most powerful currency in the world is integrity. So APB is fully committed to uphold a high standard of integrity and professionalism always. So as you see, the bankers, they act as a custodian of public money, not as sales agents. Sales agents is selling products and you increase the transactions volumes. But bankers far beyond that responsibility, because if you take the decision, when you take decisions on lending, equity or investment risk, you need to ensure that public money is protected. So the APB supporting this role by enhancing the professionalism and the knowledge to make sure that maintain the financial stability and address the wider economy. So and how we do the protect the professionalism, we do in threefold. The number one is for the individual bankers, then the banking industry, and to the society. So individual bankers that we do through education and ethics, and to the banking industries, we maintain the standards and continuous dialogue. And for the society, it's all about trust and responsibility. So that's how we engage and do professionalism on a continuous basis.
Dilshan, I'm going to come to you once again for another question on the convention itself. Now, Anton spoke about how important the banking practices are, integrity, trust, how these qualities are important and how much these help shape the economy of the country as well. So my next question to you is, how does the convention help develop the banking industry in Sri Lanka?
Sure. So we look at what are the key aspects that is in demand and what's been spoken out and what we see as emerging threats, opportunities, and then we look at our banking industry and we look at what our knowledge, skill and the gap levels are, and we try to cater to see where we can bridge this gap and where the demand is coming from. Let's say, for example, one aspect which we are going to discuss at this time's convention is also the use of AI technology in banking. It's rapidly sort of coming into the banking sphere. We see a lot of AI being used internationally as well, and so much so in Sri Lanka as well. It started off. So we want to create a conversation along that area. So that's just one example on the technology front. But when we talk about the convention, we cover a wide variety of aspects. So we cover the macro, like I said, the people aspect, the IT, which is the technology aspect, as well as bring the practical element into it. So let me tell you some of the themes that we have come up with, the sub-themes under the overall banner, navigating complexity and accelerating impact. So the first session, which we are talking about the macro side overall, the key topic is driving resilient growth in a Barney world. Driving resilient growth in a Barney world. So Barney as in brittle, anxious, non-linear and incomprehensible. And that's what the world is, right? Absolutely. It's brittle, anxious, non-linear, and sometimes it doesn't make sense. But you've got to live through it. So the key conversation which we have after the presentation, this particular presentation will be done by Mackenzie, Akash Lal, one of the senior partners who will fly in for this, and he will basically set the scene where we will then have a panel discussion, like I said, with policymakers, monetary policy, fiscal policy and global experts in terms of discussing how we are basically going to navigate this. The second session is more talking about the IT side and the digital infrastructure which is needed. Now we try to, when we come up with themes, we try to look at what's countries one of what is Sri Lanka's priorities are. Digitalization is one of the key priorities set by the government and the country. So we try to cater to that as a whole, as a banking industry, as to how we can support that. So the key theme for that particular area is architecture for the future, secure, scalable and smart. And we are covering a wide aspect of the security aspect of it as well, and we have a CISO from a very reputed bank joining to cover that aspect as well amongst the advisors of the payment systems in the country. The third one is talking about our talent. I spoke about AI. I spoke about the advent of new technology coming in. Now is our banking community ready for all these changes? Have the future skills which are required for the industry been developed? Where are we? What is the gap? So the key topic which we want to talk about, the human capital side, is on future ready talent in an agile era. Future ready talent in an agile era. So with things changing, we want to make sure that rapidly, so much so, is the talent ready, is the people ready. And sometimes you got those blind spots. You need to open up those blind spots, and the only way you can self-realize is by having that discussion very openly with international speakers, panelists, and also regional participants coming down. And the final session is where it ends at a high, where we have the chairmen and the CEOs of banks joining us in to basically summarize all these aspects, the global, the local challenges, and what I spoke of earlier, and how do you sort of navigate this at the banking industry. So we've also looked at global and regional integration, like I mentioned earlier. So with the participants coming in, you're able to create a platform also amongst bank where you create an environment for regulatory and policymakers and the people who are in that regulated environment to have an open dialogue and a discussion around the current thematics in a different environment. And where APB comes to light is that when each bank talks about its products and services, its product propositions, and its different areas in the banking, they talk about that particular bank itself, right? APB brings to the fore in terms of entire collection of the banking industry. We have 24 commercial banks in the country. We have regional development banks, specialized banks. All these banks send representation into the convention because they see it as a good value add for their staff. And we create that platform where we can commonly discuss these challenges across what's on the public sphere. So that's what APB actually brings in.
Any final remarks you all have before we conclude? Dilshan, I'll start with you.
Sure, certainly. So the convention I think is more or less now oversubscribed, and that's the level of demand people have for the convention as a whole. But we will see how we can facilitate, and if you're unable to make it for this year's convention, join us for next year, register early. Invest in yourself as a banking professional. There is qualifications which you can do, and along with qualifications, networking is also very important. And talking in real life with real life situations is one way you will actually learn much more faster, and you would learn from challenges that other markets and other people and people who have been through these challenges can share with you in their experiences. And that creates a very good platform, not only for your self-development, but also for your networking and then your career progression in terms of building your skills and competencies. So if you are not a APB member so far, you could go to our website and find out how APB operates, and we'd like to invite you, but the selection process is a bit of a rigorous process as well. But if you are a APB member, there's a lot of value addition that you can get from the association.
Anton, any final remarks?
My message to every banker: your engagement will define the relevance of APB. So please join, as Dilshan invited, mentor, question, and interact. So this is the association where do a lot of works and in the interest of the banking fraternity. So please do join and contribute to the banking profession and the society at large. Thank you.
Well, the 36th Annual Convention organized by the Association of Professional Bankers Sri Lanka, happening on the 19th and 20th February, under the theme Navigating Complexity and Accelerating Impact Through Regional Synergy, an opportunity for bankers in Sri Lanka to come, network, and deep dive and delve into important topics in terms of the current situation in the country, global economy, and much more. Well, once again, happening on the 20th and 19th, in fact, and 20th of February. And today with me, I had Anton Arumugam, the president of the Association of Professional Bankers Sri Lanka, and also Dilshan Pereira, the senior vice president and convention chair of the Association of Professional Bankers Sri Lanka, to discuss this important topic with us. And that's a wrap of this exclusive with me, Jua Dabdin. Until I see you again, this is goodbye.